we announce the biggest concert giveaway in the history of this radio station.
Huge.
Tickets to see Garth Brooks, and you win tickets to see Taylor Swift, both those concerts.
Both.
So what do? How do you follow that? What do you do for an encore? There's only one thing you can do. You talk to James Spann, our favorite weatherman, live, and that's the encore. That's how we follow up that big concert announcement. James Spann, good morning. Roll Tide.
Yeah, I'll take this show right down the tubes. It goes downhill from here.
I don't think so. So, James, Captain Ray, the traffic guy, just said he saw a squirrel behind the radio station, and it wasn't carrying nuts. It was carrying a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk. Is there a reason to?
I don't know. Maybe there's a little message there. Wow. So, we got a winter weather advisory. And understand, Tuscaloosa is on the far northern fringe of this thing. And there's going to be a very sharp cutoff on the northern edge. And there's a very good possibility some people listening to us won't see anything tomorrow. No rain, no snow, nothing. Now, and understand, you guys have this big blowtorch. You know, you got people listening in Fayette and, Millport and Jasper. And as you go north, we don't expect anything. The heavier precipitation will be really south of Interstate 20. So as you head down toward Moundville and Greensboro and Utah and Brent and Centerville, that's where the deeper moisture should be. But there could be some as far north as Tuscaloosa. And I think the Weather Service did the right thing. You've got these big population centers along Interstate 20, in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham and Anniston. So I think they did the right thing to include the bigger cities in the advisory. So the deal is after midnight, we're going to start to see this big mass of rain and snow coming in from the west. And what's going to happen, we'll probably see a changeover. If it starts as rain, it'll change over to light snow pretty quickly. And the Weather Service, and I agree with this, they're forecasting accumulation within the advisory area of a quarter to 1/2 inch.
Okay.
And up north, they would laugh at us for even talking.
I know they would. We'll take that. We'll be happy to see that.
I mean, they're not only laughing, they're pointing while they're rolling on the floor.
We've just received a report from our friends over at the Ostrich that the Jasper Mall Santa has just put his shirt back on. That's how cold it's going to be.
Wow. Now, that's when it's cold. You know it's cold when that happens. And the deal is that the ground is kind of warm. Soil temperatures are warm, and that's going to limit the accumulation we see, where snow does fall tomorrow morning. If you look at some of these raw computer model output charts, they're showing, 2 and 3 inch amounts, and we think that's a little too high. So we'll say a quarter to 1/2 inch, mainly on grass. Now, temperatures will be really close to freezing tomorrow morning. And again, for some people listening to us now, it might be 29 or 30. And you get a little light rain or light snow, there could be some icy spots on the bridges. For some people listening to us, it might be 34 or 35, and it's just wet. So you've got to pay attention tomorrow morning as you drive. Just be aware there could be some icy spots. The precipitation will end about midday, early afternoon. And the other issue is that tomorrow night, any water that's left over on the roads, that could freeze because we go into 20s tomorrow night. And that could create some of the black ice problems that we don't know about, and that could linger into Saturday morning. And again, nothing especially widespread. So that's the bottom line. And, what I always say, with every deal like this, there's always going to be a surprise.
Right.
We have a limited skill set in the Deep South in dealing with this.
Amen.
And quite frankly, they do up north. They just don't admit it.
That's exactly right. Right.
But there's typically almost always a surprise. So be sure you're working with really fresh weather information because the forecast can and probably will change between now and early tomorrow morning. But again, the bottom line is the main window for light snowflakes around here would be from about 3 a.m. tomorrow until 1 or 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The better chance of, getting a quarter inch, maybe 1/2 inch, probably south of Tuscaloosa where the moisture is deeper. If it accumulates, mostly on grass, the roads mostly wet. But again, the bridges tomorrow morning could have some icy spots, so be aware of that. And it all winds down tomorrow afternoon. And again, just tomorrow night, watch out for the patchy black ice for refreezing. And
all right.
That should be about it for this.
Spann, how much stock do you own in Piggly Wiggly?
I've got 623 shares, and I've got my broker on the line right now trying to buy more.
I knew that. I knew that. Now, I want to put you on the spot before we let you go. If you were the superintendent of schools in Tuscaloosa, Tomorrow's Friday. With this possibility, tomorrow morning during drive time, would you cancel school tomorrow, or what would you do?
Well, I wouldn't do anything right now. I'd wait until tonight.
Okay.
I'd wait until about 8 or 9 o'clock tonight and make a decision before the late news comes on at 10.
Yeah.
And that way you'll have fresh information. And here's the other problem, guys. You know, we botched the thing in 2014. We really botched the impact of that snowmageddon.
Mm-hmm.
And people had that fresh in their mind, even though it's 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago.
People don't forget.
And so there's going to be an inherent distrust, and I would not be shocked if some schools closed based on the error we made 4 years ago. And that is totally understandable. But let me just say this in terms of snowmageddon. This is not going to be like that for one main reason. What burned us on that deal? It was, if you remember, when it was snowing, snowmageddon morning, temperatures were 17 to 21.
Mm-hmm.
And in my 38 years of doing this, we have never had accumulating snow when it's that cold.
I see.
So we have no experience in how ice builds on roads, the ice accretion process. And it is radically different. We had a flash freeze. It put down a base of ice. We know now what happens. But this time, instead of being 17 to 21 degrees, temperatures are going to be 30 to 35, which is more typical of what happens here. So in that regard, this will not be like 2014.
Very good. We appreciate your time this morning, and we thank you, and we are so happy to have you as part of the family at 95.3 The Bear. We got an eye on it as we go through this day, man. You have a good day. Appreciate you, James Spann.
Steve, Meg, y'all have a great day.
God bless.
Bye.